I've been playing fighting games over 2 decades now, and they're my favorite genre. The problem I have is I can never find my friends online. Our schedules don't line up. One guy's taking his wife to dinner, my kids are crying, so it's like I need to wait, and then we just don't get to play, and that's a problem. But now with Shadows, we think we've solved that.
The thing that really makes the Shadow system different than a traditional AI is that it doesn't just look at the buttons that you press and just react to them immediately. It looks at the situation like a human does. So it sizes up the situation and says, okay, the opponent's, kind of far away from me. I have a lot of health, I have shadow meter. It takes all of these things into account like a player does. And because of that, we're able to capture things like rush down footsies. If you're an aggressive player, your shadow is going to be aggressive. And it's going to be aggressive in the same situation that you would be aggressive in.
So Shadows are complete next generation of fighting game AI. And what's really exciting about them, and why I say they're really you, is because if you haven't done it, your Shadow doesn't know how to do it. So it's not some AI just doing moves and maybe doing a couple things you do. I mean, you've really done these things. You've trained your Shadow to do these things. And that's what's kind of cool when you're playing your friends. I know my friend's gonna try and trap me in the corner. I know he's gonna do like an uppercut or rush me down. And so I know how to get out of it.
When we play against another person, we take for granted that they're going to be able to sort of size up the situation and kind of change their tactics. But it's a very difficult thing for a traditional AI to capture this.
Anything that you've done, they know how to do. If you haven't done it, they won't do it.
The main place you go to interact with Shadows is the Shadow Hub. At the Hub, you can do a lot of things, but in order to get your Shadow started, the first thing you need to do is have an encounter with the Dojo Master, Jagan. You'll do a set of 3 training bouts with him, and after that, your Shadow will be trained up and ready to go out into the wild. It may not have exposure to all of the different situations and circumstances you might come across, but it'll be able to mimic you at a pretty good level even at that point. So one of the core ways that you interact with the Shadow system is via Shadow Challenges. Shadow Challenges allow you to issue a challenge through the leaderboard to either players that are highly ranked or your friends. You can challenge those players from the leaderboards for rewards and get to fight against their shadows. If you beat them, a bounty will be created and they'll get a notice to come after your shadow for revenge. The Shadow Brain is one of the coolest visuals and one of the most interesting things that you can go and look at and do while you're in the Shadow Hub. It shows you a series of performance metrics about the matches that you've recorded for your shadow, showing things like your success rate with varying tactics and how much it's tilted towards offense versus defense, or how stylish it is, like how many times it taunts the opponent. You can also see how many recorded matches you have of different types and what your shadow's win rate is against all of the other characters that are out there. If you identify any deficiencies in your Shadow's gameplay, like it's not good at combo breakers or it's losing a lot versus Orchid, you can then address those deficiencies by training your Shadow some more.
We had a play test and we brought in some pro players to get their hands on with the system. And at first, they all started out pretty skeptical. Like, come on, we've seen other people try to do this and it just doesn't really work that well. But we sat them down with it. They started out by beating their Shadow. After they got in a bit more time with their Shadow and their Shadow got in more experience, they started to lose a bit. And at first, I think all of them were in disbelief. I don't think that they wanted to admit it. They started to blame it on mistakes. It kind of speaks for itself when you see somebody completely into a match, just like they would be against a player.
Shadows are coming really soon. Season 1 cast plus Maya and TJ combo is first. Get ready to have people fear your Shadow.